Very good evening friends, and now here in this video part 5 we will design a function called the private boolean, and its name should be email validate or validate email, because this function is going to check whether the user entered a valid email ID or not. Because when user enters the presses the button, whether that time it is the email ID edit text is filled or not, whether it's empty or whether it contains the appropriate email ID with the, so this validation will do in this program. So now here the private boolean, so it checks that if email dot, like the mail is the string extracted from that edit text named, which is designed to store the email from the user. So if the mail dot is empty, like if it is empty, like if it is blank, like the user hasn't entered but the pressed the button, so the ad mail dot set error, and like that at the text box this error is set, means the data will not be sent from here but the control will return back to the edit text. So the edmail dot set error empty fields return false, means it will not be accessed, it will not be passed. So else, if it is correct, then what will happen? So, and 3, this is if else if statement, and here if it is like if nothing of that sort happens, in the middle one we'll check whether the user enters a valid email ID. Valid email ID means it should have at the rate function and then a dot function. So for that we will use the Java util regular expression, and this expression will validate whether the user has entered the right email or not. So let me copy and paste, and I'll do the same thing for the password validation also, because whether the password field is empty, because we cannot let the user just come on our application and press the empty button, because the application will start processing the empty string. It will just hamper the efficiency of the application. So that's why we have to restrict. We should not let the user enter whatever he wishes. We are seeking the correct email ID and the correct password, because user is not very friendly to the developer. So here now I have taken two strings, cmail and the cpass, where the strings from those edit text from the login activity are come and restored. For that I have designed two boolean variable, pv answer means password validation and the email validation answer. So in the emanc means this is a boolean, and we'll pass the function, we'll call the function validate email and pass the cmail to this. We'll do the same thing for pv answer means password validation answer. These two are logical variable, em answer and the pv answer. So one will have the boolean value returned from the validate email, and we are passing the mail and the password. Cmail and the cpass are the string values fetched from the edit text email and password. So from these two values will be fetched and passed to this function. So the mail is coming here. Now again we'll check if mail dot, now will you call the password pattern matcher, because email pattern matcher actually it is, because the Java util dot regular expression offers you a statement where you can see that whether the email entered is valid or not. So its mechanism goes like it's patterns dot email address, and then you see the red bulb, then you have to import this java dot util dot regex, called the regular expression, or we write reg regex, regular expression, short form for that. So here, and then we'll simply press dot, since it is not imported, that's why the pop-up is not coming, because first we have to import this pattern dot email address or pattern. Okay, so patterns, actually this pattern, see, and like, yes. So if you click the dot, then you will find the matcher function will be called. Now it's not red, means you can press the button. So matcher, and then you pass the email which you have got from, that is here in the form of string mail dot matches. There is a function designed as matches, and this returns a boolean value. So if it is there, it means the set error is of no use, so you can keep it fine. But if you want that it is not if the patterns dot email address dot matcher dot matches, if it is false, then the admail dot set error will be set as please enter a valid email, and the return will be false. So this is here we have done, and here it is, if everything is if empty, and then we'll set that this is null, and we should set it true. We can do it later also, don't worry, relax, and just try to understand the logic. So this is your public static final pattern. I have just copied it from the inbuilt function. We will be using this for the password, not for email, because for email we have already imported this pattern. So now I simply copy and paste it, but this is not directly used for the password, because the patterns for the passwords are different than the patterns for the email. We'll make certain changes, but since certain lines are common, that's why I had copied and pasted there. So now here I come into the register file, and I just copy and paste the same thing, because in the registered activity also we have to do the same thing, validate our password and the email along with the name and the mobile. So everything is same here, only the difference is you can find that the naming part can be different, because here the names are different and there the names were different. So now, so if you see that here I have now see, so I want my name, mobile, and password with the email ID, all these to be stored in certain variables. So that's why these variables I call as tname, like temporary kind of tname, tmail, tpass, and then tmobile. So the whatever, this is registered activity. So in the registered activity you might have seen that the user enters the name, mobile, email, and the password. So this also needs to be validated, because here the information is directly stored into the database just after checking whether the email ID exists or it is a unique one. So for that you have to make certain precautions, because otherwise there will be a lot of duplicacy in the database, and that will really cause a great troubles in the functionality of the whole application. So this is tmail is just the tmail equal to tname dot get text dot to strings dot trim, means the from the edit text the name, email, mobile will be taken, like the dot get text to dot to strings and dot trim. So it means it will be trimmed also. So you can say that whatever user enters the name, mobile, email, and password, they will come directly into tname, tmobile, and tpassword. We'll just place it inside the button click. So okay, so now let me arrange them. So now you can say that whatever user enters, that information, means the 4 strings, they come into tname, name comes in tname, mobile number comes in tmobile, the email ID comes in tmail, and the password comes in tmail. Then you see that before entering into this database helper insert data, we have to check, because now here also, because last time we made it a little different, so here we'll just pass tmail, tname, tmobile, mail and t password in the proper sequence. It should be t pass. Okay, so t name, t mobile, t mail, and then t pass. So here friends, I added some codes here, and I don't want to type, so that's why I'll explain you rather than writing, because it was getting delayed. So in the offline mode I wrote something code, and this I'm trying to explain you. So this is my login activity, and there you see that I have now. Okay, so this is fine. You see that private static final pattern, pass pattern, this is the password pattern. So let me select this for you so that you can see what I'm trying to do, and increase it. So that every password should have one number between 0 to 9, one lowercase, one uppercase, and minimum 6 letters it should have, and some special characters. Whatever user enters the name and email and the password from the login activity precisely. So from the login activity, and the user enters the email and the password, that email and password comes, and here I store them in these two variables, cmail and cpass. Then I declare two boolean variables, emans and pvans, and then I'll pass these, call these values like the validate email and the pass email here, and there is another function called the validate password. So see, this is my validate email. So here one string is passed. If a string is empty, then edmail.set error empty fields return false. If the pattern matches, then not matches, so I've written if exclamation patterns means not equal to, then returns false, otherwise true. Now same thing I have done for the true also. This is the password validation. So if password is empty, empty fields. If password is not matching its pattern, then we say it's a weak password and it returns false. If everything is fine else, then it says that set error is null and it returns a true value. So these two functions will return two boolean values. To store these two boolean values, we need two boolean variables. So I have declared two boolean variables, this emans and pvans. So emans and the email answer and the pv answer, you can say, if these two are true, like if emans and pvans are true, means if they are correct and the validation is proper, then the entry or the checking of the email will begin, because checking will begin only when the entered data is valid. Else, then here I see that if the checking fails, like if the validation fails, then we will just write some toast, and there we say that there is some special kind of problem or some different problem, so that we can identify that if any error happens, then from where the system is throwing the error, so then we can later work on that part and we can make our system error free. So here I write some error in the validation, and this will happen only if the validate email and the validate password both will return false value. Now I come back to the register activity. I copy the same code for the password pattern, because the same techniques will be used here and the validation. And we need, now see, I have taken the four strings in these two names, like the t name, t mail, t pass, t. So from here, now you see that when the button is clicked, then the t name will be t name, t mobile, t mail will be password, and then I have designed four validation, two for email, one for name, and one for mobile. So the name will check only whether it's not empty, kind of like if the user should enter at least more than one character, then and the mobile number should be at least 10. So this is the validate email, and this is very much same like what we have done for the login activity. So same thing, there is nothing different, only the names are different, because here the edit text name is mail. Now you see here the edit text. If you're following the project from the beginning, you can very easily connect, otherwise you can watch the previous videos. So the edit text here has been named as the name, mobile, mail and password, and the user is passing, so the whatever user email is passing and coming to this function in the form of cmail. So if cmail dot is empty, then mail dot set error, and the mail is the edit text. Same way, if the c password is checked here, and if any problem there, then the pass dot, because pass is the edit text, here the name is the edit text. So if the c name dot length is less than 1, because if it is at least 1 character, and here if the mobile number c mobile dot length equal to 0, and then these are the validation modes. And this is how what we have done, and the rest is as it is what we did in the activity, or you can say our video number 3, where the entry into the database was being done. So there is nothing special, because this episode simply talks about the validation, and now the code is here. We have discussed this very all. Now let me run this application and check how it all works. So there it goes, and here says that I try to enter one, this is the login activity of course, so I try to enter one email ID and check whether the user accepts, system accepts or not. So let me enter, and then here write Ajinkya Pandey @gmail.com, and then here I try to enter the password, some random password. Now this email and validated, and then the system will check whether this email ID, now see the password is weak and some error in the validation, that part which I discussed and said that there you can have certain problem. Now here I remove this @ symbol, and I try to enter into the system just like so. It says that please enter a valid email ID, because you cannot have the email ID without a dot and @ character. So here this is the weak password. Now if you remove the dot, you'll find the same thing. So let me enter the correct and the valid email ID, and the password also I try to make it strong, like the more than 6 characters, some uppercase, lowercase, some number and some special character. So now I have entered 5, still it will show the weak password because it is just having 5 characters. So the minimum character should be more than 6 or 6, so more than 6. So now here I just enter few more, and then I write here, then it's proper, and then the system will check. The now system found that this email ID is new, so the system introduces you to the registered activity, and then it asks you to register first. So this is the Ajinkya Pandey. I entered the proper name, and then I try to enter, so it says that these are, and it's not accepting the data. So first then I try to enter a number, 10-digit number, because Indian phone numbers are 10-digit numbers. So if I try to enter, so 2 are proper. Now I enter here, so it says that enter 10-digit, because I just made 9-digit. So here I entered one email ID, a proper one, so I name it as Ajinkya Pandey @gmail.com. Okay, and there here in the password, if you enter, then the password is empty and it's not accepting it. So in the password I write Ajinkya $1 $2 %. So I have, my password is Ajinkya 12 %, and I clicked is inserted. So everything was valid and it was inserted properly. Now I go back to my login activity, because this time you can say that the system has already registered Ajinkya Pandey @gmail.com as this one. Now if I try to log in with the wrong password, it says that the weak password, because it's weak also and it is wrong also. So here I just try to enter the correct password, and now you see the system will surely let me in. So welcome to the system. Thank you very much friends, and this is all about for this episode. Thank you very much.